Hi there, this is Ed from the Dad Who Codes, and in this series of videos I'm going to show you how to create a to-do list in Replit. So what we have here on the left is an Add To Do button. It just helps us create the to-dos in our application, so I can just click it once, twice, 3 times, as many times as I like. The button on the right helps us save the to-dos to the application so that when we refresh the application we will see our remaining to-dos. So I'm just going to enter in some to-dos to do quickly now. So maybe the first one will be wash the dishes. The second one could be something like learn programming for 10 minutes. And the last one could be to clean the house. Now what we could do is delete a to-do if we've made a mistake. So maybe the first one and the third one are a mistake that I don't want to do. So I'm going to click delete, wash the dishes, and delete the clean the house. And when you're ready to save your to-dos, you just need to click on this save data button, and that saves it to the application. So now when we refresh, we will see our remaining to-dos to see here. And once you've completed a to-do, you can just click the completed button here to remove it and say that you've completed it. So what are the benefits to using a to-do list? Well, one of the things are the to-do lists are really great to help with your coding productivity, and they help break down your products into more manageable tasks so that you're easier to complete them from start to finish. There are many popular to-do lists out there such as Google Tasks, Microsoft To Do, and Todolist, and there's many more. So why even write your own to-do list when you can just download one? Well, one of the benefits is that you're practicing writing code, especially if you're a brand new programmer or just starting to learn code. And in that sense, you can start using coding concepts that you've learned from those previous videos or lessons you've learned from school in this project, as well as experimenting with new ideas that you've come across online. And the more you code, the more comfortable you become with code, and the better programmer you'll become. Remember, coding is just like learning a foreign language. You will go to school, go to lessons, learn about the concepts and how to use it, but you will only become better once you start writing more code, reading more code, and doing projects and being able to break down those projects so that you're able to complete them. It's a fantastic way to get better and more confident at coding. So what are some prerequisites and things we'll cover in these videos? Well, it'll help if you know some HTML and JavaScript as well as some CSS, but I will go over everything in as much detail as possible. We'll be going over how to create JavaScript functions when we need to create and delete to-dos. We'll be looking at how we can access and add HTML content using the insert adjacent HTML method. We'll also be saving our to-dos to local storage, and we'll be looking at how we can get those to-dos back into our Replit application. And we'll be looking at looping through our to-dos which are in local storage using the query selector auth function, so that when we load the application again, we can load our to-dos from what we saved previously. So to get started, we just need to click on the Replit link that I've attached to the YouTube description below. And once we click on it, we will just need to click on the fork button here, and then we just need to log into our Replit. So I'm just going to log in with my GitHub account, and once we do that, we should see a fork Replit window screen where we can type in the name of our Replit. So I'm just going to type in todolist.new, and you can enter in the description as well before you click on the fork Replit button. Give it a little moment to load up, and then we'll see our Replit application. So just on the left here, what we'll see are a few files from application: the index.html file, the JavaScript file, and the CSS style sheet. Now we're not going to worry too much about the style sheet for the time being, so I'm just going to close this, but we do need to make sure that we have the JavaScript file, the script.js file, open on the side. For now, we're just going to close the sidebar so we can see more of the screen. So just on the right is the browser, and on the left is where we'll be doing most of our code. So one other thing I want to do quickly is to change the theme. So we're just going to go to the profile icon on the top right, and then click on Account. Once we're there, we're just going to click on the Themes icon button just here, and then this is where we are able to change our themes. So I'm just going to choose the dark theme, just so that we can go into dark mode and just see my code more clearly. You can choose any theme you'd like. I just prefer to use dark mode for this video. So in this video, we're just going to be creating a header for the application, and then we're going to be creating an unordered list to hold the list items. each list item is going to be a to-do list, and then we're going to create two buttons, one which will create our to-dos, and the second one is to save our data. And we also need to make sure that we add a script tag which will help our HTML file sync up with the JavaScript file. So I'm just going to create a heading here for the application. I'm going to use an H1 element. You can use H2 or H3, and I'm just going to name it to-do list. Just going to refresh the application, just make sure it appears, and it does. So we're going to move on to step 2, which is creating the unordered list. So to create it, we just need to open up the angled brackets and type in UL. You'll see that Replit, like some IDEs, will automatically help you close out the unordered list as well. And again, what's going to happen is that when we create our to-dos, each to-do is going to be a list item. So it's going to use the li HTML elements. And these are created in our JavaScript folder, not in our HTML file. So I'm just going to remove them quickly. And what we also need to do is give this unordered list an ID, and we're going to call it to-do list. In our JavaScript file, we are going to refer back to this unordered list based on the ID. So next, we're just going to create a button, and I'm just going to call it add to do. And let's refresh the application just to make sure that we see this button appear on the page. Now the idea is that when we click on this button, it's going to call a JavaScript function. And it just so happens that HTML has something called an event called onClick. And what this means is that when you click on an element, in my case it's going to be a button element, but I could easily put this onClick onto my H1 or my unordered list, and if you click on it, it's going to do something. And the something that I wanted to do is to call a JavaScript function. And I'm going to call this onClick equals create to do, open and close the parentheses. This is to indicate that this is a function. We're also going to make sure that we surround this in quotation marks so that it works. Now at the moment, this HTML page does not know what this create to do function is because it's not pointing to the JavaScript file. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a script tag just before the end of the body closing body element, and we're going to point this to our JavaScript file. And we're going to do this by the source, which is src, and we're going to say equals to the script.js. And we're also going to make sure that the script.js is surrounded in quotation marks. This will tell the HTML page to look for the JavaScript file that is called script.js file. So now we have everything set up in our HTML file, and we need to move over to our script.js file to write the create to do function. So to do that, we just click on the script.js file, and to create the function, we just need to add in function, then the name of the function, which is create to do, open the parentheses, and then we're going to add these squiggly brackets in. Within these squiggly brackets, this is where we write our code to tell the application what the function is going to do. And for the time being, I'm just going to make it console log out to the application to say hello from script.js file. Just going to refresh the application, and we do need to make it show the console log. So we're going to click this spanner on the top right, which opens up the developer tools. And you'll see immediately that that has the console setting there. And now when we click on the add to do button, it does show us the message, hello from script.js file. So just quickly, what's happening is the button has an onClick event. And that onClick event, when it's clicked, it's going to say, okay, let's call the create to do function. The script tag at the end makes sure that we connect the script.js file with the HTML page so that it can find this create to do function. And in this instance, it's going to show us the console.log, hello from script.js file. So as a final recap, we learned about the onClick event, which can be attached to any HTML element and can basically do something once clicked on. We also learned about the script tag, and what this does is it connects the HTML index page with a JavaScript file that you have So in my instance, it allows me to call JavaScript functions directly from the HTML index page. We also learned how to call JavaScript functions by setting the onClick event to the name of the function in quotation marks. So in the next video, we're going to be expanding the actual functionality for this create to do function, and I'll see you in the next one.